Hey everybody, and welcome to Anime Slushy. It's me, Cube, and today we actually have a special guest. But who else is here with me? Who's this normal person who's here with me?
Me, Phoenix.
and then who's this third person?
Hi, I'm Corinth. What's up?
Yeah. So Corinth is our special guest. She's a very talented artist. She makes Crisis 02. What is your actual Twitter tag again?
Hey, it's Corinth.
You should go look at her work. And also, if you go to her Twitter, you might see a lot of fan art of a particular property. And it's one I've been wanting to hear about. So Corinth is going to tell us about Lupin the Third.
I'm going to do my best. We'll see how this goes.
Because you've been on like a bit of a Lupin bender for a little bit now, haven't you?
A little, yeah.
Yeah, what started you on this Lupin train?
Yeah, so I was on Twitter and I saw that like someone had posted a clip from like the new 3D movie that came out. Because I had heard about this franchise before, like in passing, and I was like, this looks like something I might want to check out, but like whatever. And then I saw the clip and I was like, maybe I'll finally watch this maybe. And someone was like, oh, you should watch Castle of Cagliostro. And I watched that and then I was like, I want more.
Now you're in deep.
Now I'm in really deep. Now I'm like trying to watch all of them so I can make a video about it, but
nice.
You're gonna make YouTube content?
Attempt to make YouTube content. I don't know. I tried recording like audio for it last night. It didn't go very well. I realized I'm not that great at like reading from a script or like.
That has never stopped anyone from making YouTube content before.
Hey, let me tell you about Lupin the Third.
Yeah, you just got to put on a voice.
Yeah.
Hide behind a voice. It makes it easy.
The only media I've consumed of Lupin directly is once on a plane, I saw the live-action movie, which I assume is probably not super indicative. And now I've seen Castle of Cagliostro, finally. But other than that, I only know it through cultural osmosis.
You sent me pictures of the live action movie. I was like terrified of the concept. I was like, no, it can't be monkey in live action. And then I saw the pictures and I was like, well, it's not so bad.
Yeah, only knowing like the very basic gist of the characters, I was like, this seems like a pretty good fun movie. Nothing mind-blowing, but from what I knew of the characters, it seemed pretty true to them.
That's good, at least.
In preparation for this, I watched the 3D movie. Like the one that just came out.
Oh boy.
We can talk about that last, I guess, but that was interesting.
Yeah. It's a movie. I
wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of similar to the live action one. It's like, yep, the characters are all here, and I got to see them, and then the movie's over. So I'm sure it was a thing.
There's an aspect of that, yeah.
Yeah. I get so sad when I think about it. I'm like,
So what all of Lupin have you seen now?
Oh my god, okay. I watched the TV series. So like I watched part 2, some of part 3, part 4, and part 5. I tried watching part 1, and in the first episode, there was like a horrible instance where Fujiko gets like tied up or tortured or whatever, and I was like, I don't want to watch any more of this, so I quit.
It was like the 60s, right? So it ain't gonna be great for gender shit.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the entire franchise is bad like that, but I guess at that point, I had been so like numb to it. I guess something like snapped when I watched that, and I was like, nope.
Enough.
Yeah, I was like, no.
Yeah.
No more.
It was funny watching the opening credits from the 3D movie where it was like, okay, there's Lupin. Here's this lady in a green dress with an AK-47. Okay. This is going to be interesting.
It's very similar to like the opener for part 2, which has like the famous like boxing glove in the vagina shot. Like they introduced Fujiko the same way, where she's got like a huge like machine gun. And it sucks because that never really happens in the show ever. But
oh really?
Aww.
Not really.
I know in Cagliostro, she's not usually like that, right?
No,
like in
yeah.
Cagliostro, she's just like this military lady.
Yeah, she's got like a grenade or something. I remember.
Yeah, I love when she's pretending to be the reporter and she just like turns around and shoots the guy.
Yeah, that's like a super rare occurrence. Most of the time, like I just watched a special last night where like she had like a teeny tiny gun that's like strapped to her leg under her dress, and like she uses that, but like
the classic spy.
Half the time she pulls it out and the other guy has a bigger gun and like smacks her or something, and you're like,
Ooh. Wait, so the specials, there's like one a year or something?
Yeah, like they started in like the 80s, and then they made one per year until like 2013, I think. So I've been watching all of those, and
Are they all like, how long is each of them?
about an hour. It's like a movie length.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Should we maybe just run through the characters quickly if you haven't seen any Lupin at all?
Yeah, 'cause that's the most important
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, okay. So, like, Lupin is there. Lupin, I don't know, whatever. They call him Lupin, or Lupin, or Wolf, or whatever.
What,
Copyright
Wolf?
issues. Yeah, oh my god, in the dub for Castle Cagliostro on Netflix that I watched, they call him Wolf for some reason. It was really weird.
Oh, because Lupin is, yeah, I guess for people who don't know, he's named after Arsène Lupin. That's not how you pronounce it. Don't come at me. But it's like a traditional fictional spy guy in French literature or something.
Yeah, he's like the original Phantom Thief. I think the Kaito guy from Conan is based off of him too.
Yeah, Kaito Kid. I mean, he's definitely ripped off of Lupin and also the other Lupin.
That's why he's Lupin the Third, because he's like the descendant of those guys?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I'm pretty sure all of them are descendants, because Goemon is like Goemon Ishikawa, like the 13th.
Oh.
So
Oh, right.
What is Jigen descendant
I don't
of?
know.
Is there a famous
I don't know
Jigen?
what Jigen's like descendants is. I know Zenigata's like the descendant of like a famous Edo period police officer.
Right, okay.
Awesome. Oh yeah, but we gotta talk about the boys. So you got Lupin.
Yes, I'm sorry. Lupin, and then there's
Yeah.
Jigen, who's like his like right hand man who is always there. He's like the shooty man who shoot gun. And
And always has a busted cigarette.
Yeah, and he seems tired as fuck. He seems like my guy. He's got a hat, and he's always like, "Oh, Lupin."
yeah,
That's my impression of him.
one thing I noticed from all these is like he always acts like he hates everyone, but anytime he's like driving a car or in a chase scene, he's always smiling, and it makes me happy. I'm like, yes, drive that car off the road.
He's vibing.
It does seem like he's the character who's the one who's semi-responsible.
Yeah.
That's kind of his role.
Yeah, he's always cleaning up after Lupin when he does something stupid.
Yeah.
I guess it's nice that, like, you know, small mercies, but at least they didn't have a female character doing that for a change.
Yeah.
Like, at least it's another dude, but, you know, not that it's...
Yeah, because Fujiko is one of those like on again, off again, double crosses you all the time kind of things, right?
Yeah. She's duplicitous.
Ooh.
Like all women.
Fatal.
So, Fujiko is like his rival thief, who's the redheaded lady.
Yeah. She's blonde in Castle Cagliostro, but everywhere else she's like brown
I
hair.
didn't think
or red
about
hair.
that. Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but whatever. In the TV show, she's like always changing outfits and hair, so maybe that's what that is, but... Then there's my man, Goemon, who's like
Yeah.
a samurai guy. They always, like, he always shows up, like, in the last half. Like, he's usually not present at the beginning, or, like, he's off doing something in Japan, and they call him up, and he shows up last second and then leaves, which makes me sad. But...
Yeah, because I always thought of it as like they're a squad of 3, but it seems
Yeah.
like it's really the 2 guys, and then he shows up when forced to.
yeah.
I was wondering about that, because, like, Lupin and Jigen make sense as, like, a pair of thieves. What's the samurai dude doing here?
Yeah,
Why
like,
is he hanging out with them?
honestly, I have no idea. Like...
Wait, he doesn't have like a consistent backstory for why he works with them?
No, they change the backstory for these characters all the time. Like,
Okay.
I think the most conclusive one that I've seen multiple times is like Goemon respects Lupin, I guess. But it's like, I don't...
He beat me in a card game once, and now I'm honor bound.
Now I must show up and cut things for you.
It seems like he just actively does not enjoy it, and yet he's always there.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Oh yeah, and his big thing I know from pop culture is that he cuts things, and then he says, "Was it like I've cut a useless thing again?" Or
Yeah,
something?
he's like, once again, I cut a worthless object. Is like his catchphrase.
It is kind of a fun dynamic, the way that Lupin is very, I guess, Genki, kind of.
Yeah, he's an excitable
Yeah.
boy.
He's an excitable boy, and the other 2 people who are with him are just grumpy as hell the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all reluctant to be associated with him, which is hilarious to me. It's like, no matter what the situation, if Lupin calls any of them, they will come. They won't be happy, but they will come and help him.
This is a pretty strong dynamic.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what kind of propelled me to continue watching. Like, no matter how terrible the specials got, like, the characters were consistently good. So it didn't really matter as much to me.
That does seem like the basis for a lot of these good long-running series is that if you have a strong core cast of characters who are fun together, you can make them do pretty much anything.
And especially with all these reboots of them, it's like nobody cares about the overarching stories.
Yeah.
Just put these guys in there again.
Yeah.
Look at them.
It's also fun because, like, so since it's so long running and, like, there are so many different artists and, like, I guess directors who've done different interpretations of it. It's kind of like Marvel Comics or something where it's like there's a different iteration every couple years. Or, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, it's just fun seeing how people interpret, like, this core idea.
Yeah, I liked that chart that some people were sharing in the Discord of, like, if his face looks like this, he's a good boy. If his face looks like this, he's gonna fucking murder you.
I was going to say, yeah, there did seem to be some variance in terms of how light or dark, or I guess gritty, it gets.
Yeah. I wish I had the chart. I don't think I have it saved, but, like, people say that, like, Green Jacket is nicer because he's, like, a nice boy, and that's, like, Miyazaki era good boy. And then there's, like, the Red Jacket, like, the middle of the road where it's, like, he's a fucker, but, like, whatever.
That kind of chaotic neutral.
Yeah. And then there's, like, the fucked up, like, edgy, dark, grim, dark Lupin where there's, like, sex and murder and stuff.
Yeah.
And blood and stuff.
I've got the chart in front of me. So the chaotic good Lupin is like Castle of Cagliostro and Alcatraz Connection.
Yeah.
Middle Lupin is like Mystery of Marmo and Bye Bye Lady Liberty.
Wait, so are those the names of specials? Is that what
Yeah,
they're
and movies, yeah.
And the fucked up Will Kill You Lupin. The woman called Fujiko Mine and Goemon Ishikana's Spray of Blood.
Yeah.
Which does sound dark.
Wait, the woman called Fujiko Mine, is that the show that was her show?
Yeah, that was all about Fujiko. That one's like,
Does that like tie into one of the particular eras of it, or is it kind of just its own separate concept?
Yeah, it's its own separate thing. Like they got the guy who directed Redline, like Koike, I think is his last name. They got him to do like the character designs and like for this new era of like edgy, fucked up Lupin.
Not your daddy's Lupin.
Yeah. So like those are the like character focused movies like Jigen's Gravestone and like Goemon's Blood Spray and like Fujiko's Lie. All of those are like edgy. There's like blood and stuff.
The quote for that set of movies is, "What if the Lupin character's fucked?" Which, yeah.
Yeah, I was like jump scared when I watched the Fujiko series by like how much sex there was. I was like, no.
Yeah, and you said she fucked someone that we got to talk about. We haven't mentioned yet, which is Zenigata, who's the copper.
She has sex with Zenigata, and my brain exploded.
Yeah, because from what little I know of him, he seems like someone who is never ever allowed to have sex. I don't think he knows what sex is from like his Cagliostro appearance and stuff.
He's a very chivalrous good boy. He's a cop.
He's the cop who's always chasing Lupin and he's incompetent. Like,
Yeah, and he works for like Interpol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like his whole thing is that no matter what, he'll never stop. He only thinks about Lupin all the time, how to catch him, where he is. He's always there. Like in some of these movies, it's clear they didn't know what to do with him, and he feels like Team Rocket in Pokemon movies, where like they're in the background and they don't really need to be there, but they are.
Like maybe I'll help out or something. Is the world in danger?
we'll waste some time here with like a scheme that won't work. It's fine.
Is the idea that is he competent when not up against Lupin? Like, is he supposed to be actually highly qualified, but Lupin is the one guy you can't get, or is he just kind of a dumb shit?
No, he's pretty It's weird. Like, he seems to be like an expert at catching Lupin. Like, he always knows exactly where he is, but yeah, I don't know. Just general incompetence. Like, it's like Tom and Jerry. Like, Tom is pretty smart and he's got a lot of traps and ideas and stuff, but it just never works.
Yeah. You can see why some people assume it's probably there's probably some sexual tension there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I always say this, but I keep trying to look for like fan artists to follow on Twitter. There's so much art of them fucking on the internet.
Well, yeah, that's
it's
always
too much for me. I'm like, guys.
Yeah. So I assume, I mean, obviously the most basic ship, I guess, would be Lupin Fujiko, but like, who cares? That seems
no
too
one cares
boring
about
for
that.
anyone to care. Yeah. So I assume the actual like most common ship would be Zenigata and Lupin.
Yeah, which is a shame because I like Jigen and Lupin better.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems like the next step up from Fujiko, I would have thought.
Yeah, I feel like because they just spend so much time together.
So yeah, it seems like it's like you're barely reinterpreting their relationship if you ship them.
Yeah. Plus, like, I've noticed there's a thing that Lupin does in like the sub where he calls he puts like the Chan honorific on the end of like everything, like his car.
Yeah.
And he does it to Jigen all the time, and I love it because Jigen hates it and is so grumpy. It's like, Jigen-chan, hit the brakes, Jigen-chan. He's like, fuck you. I'm like, yes. Like, this is the best.
That's awesome.
Okay, so is Castle of Cagliostro the right place to start with Lupin?
I think so, yeah. That's where I started, at least. And then I went straight from there to, like, part 2, the TV series. And then it kind of, like, eased me into it.
Okay.
Cagliostro is definitely the best place to start because it is the best one.
It's the best one flat out.
Yeah, do you think it's the best piece of Lupin content?
Okay, I'm incredibly biased. My personal favorite movie is The Fuma Conspiracy, which came out like a little bit after Castle of Cagliostro. And a lot of people don't like it because it's got like a different voice cast and different music or whatever. But I like it mostly because it's Goemon focused.
Okay.
Valid.
And also it's really good, like surprisingly good. Like it's just a fun adventure movie in the same vein of Castle of Cagliostro. And there's like many car chases and they're all really good. Like everyone talks about the one car chase from Castle of Cagliostro, but like
Yeah, God, I love those. I love watching old anime that had 2D vehicles in it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll never have this again.
No.
Yeah.
It's the thing that always takes me out of modern anime is like when they put like still 2D drawn characters into such a 3D ass car.
Yeah.
It's at 60 frames a second. It just looks like a stupid video game.
And I'm like, I'm not excited. I don't care how you move this model around. This isn't thrilling to me.
No, not at all.
I guess like the good thing about Lupin the Third I've noticed, even in the most recent iterations, they keep the cars 2D all the time.
Dang.
Yeah.
And they're such nice cars too. It's such a good era of cars to be drawing from.
Yeah.
That little Fiat he has is such a nice car.
It's an iconic car. It's
Yeah.
like in part 5 though, like the focus is on bringing the characters into like the modern world. So there are scenes where like they go on like social media. It's really weird.
Oh God.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to ask, wait, so do the stories usually take place in whatever era they made the show? Or
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So there's like older ones where he has like a Nokia brick phone.
Yeah. It was always the funny thing about Detective Conan, because since it's actually like one contiguous story, but they do go from him having like, oh, I have the latest technology, it's a giant cell phone, and then like now he has like a super laptop and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that doesn't make any sense. Oh well, it's been like a year.
Yeah. It's a really weird season. It's like a cool idea. They like toy with the idea of like, what if we take these kind of antiquated characters and bring them into the modern world, you know? Because there's a certain point where like their job becomes harder because now there's like surveillance technology and like the police are on their ass all the time just because of like the technology that's available. And Jigen's like, Lupin, we should just quit. Like, we're out of our element. Like,
There is something fun to that.
all of them are like old men who don't understand phones. So they're like, I feel I'm confused. What is the internet, Lupin? We have to give up.
Lupin, what is Bitcoin? Can we get
There's
it?
literally like dark web spending and like
Oh my god, that's awesome.
it's insane.
So how would you rank parts 2 to 5 in general? Like, which do you think are the good ones? Because I've heard some pretty wild ass shit about the things that happen in some of the Lupin seasons with like magic and vampires and whatnot, but I don't know which seasons those are.
Yeah, part 2 is the best to me because it's literally like watching Scooby-Doo, but there's like sex jokes, haha. Like literally there's like vampires and like at one point they steal the giant Jesus statue in Brazil and like it's just like stupid nonsense, but it's really funny and enjoyable. I mean, of course it's definitely dated. Like there's a lot that hasn't aged well, especially like depicting other cultures and stuff, but like it's still a fun time.
Yeah, because it is very international, right? Like they're always in all kinds of different countries.
Every episode they're in like a different country. So
Oh man, yeah.
there's like 2 episodes about apartheid that made me
Oh jeez.
Yeah, someone on Twitter was posting about one that had to do with like stopping a Jewish man from killing a bunch of Nazis.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of questionable things,
Yeah.
but there are some that are good.
Yeah, you just kind of have to go up into it understanding that you might have to deal with some of that shit.
Yeah, honestly, like if you look up those like Lupin dub out of context clips on YouTube, I think that's like the best experience you will have. 'Cause there's some really like wild shit these characters say.
Wait, so how much have all of the parts been dubbed now, or?
No, part 1 and part 3 haven't been.
I see.
You mentioned that part 1 had that started with a really awful torture scene. Is part 1 like, is it like that in general? It's just a bit sort of darker in an unintentional
know.
age sort of way, or?
I know that like most people say it's like not the best. Towards the end is where Miyazaki comes in, because like he started directing episodes towards the end of the run. And people say that those are better. And you can tell it's him because they're like riding in big airships and like...
That's what killed me about Cagliostro, because it's like, it's Lupin, but it's like, oh look, there's some airships. Oh look, here's a funny night man. And it's like, I guess they just let him put in whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah. I think that might have been his like directorial TV debut, I guess, or I guess his like
movie.
time directing. But I guess I'll watch those because I heard those are good. But for the most part, I hear part 1 is kind of meh, so that's why I've been so kind of like slow to watch it, because I'm like, yeah, whatever.
And I hear the manga is actually, the original manga is actually like pretty fucked up or whatnot.
Yeah, I've heard that like all of the iterations after the manga are all like significantly toned down in comparison. And I'm like, damn, really?
That was the thing that people noted about the more violent versions, was that they're weirdly a lot closer to the original, like the manga.
Yeah. I'm like, really?
I kind of want to see that just because it's like, it's weird to think of that old 60s style in combination with like crazy, gritty violence or whatnot. Well, I guess Devilman's like that too.
Yeah, it's like,
Weirdly, the Ninja Turtles were as well, but that was because like the original Turtles were a parody.
oh yeah, that's true.
That's from the 90s, right? And they were all like gritty.
Late
overly
80s,
gritty
but
or whatever.
yeah, it was. But that was, the whole point was that it's like one of those 80s gritty, dark, violent comics, but it's about a bunch of fucking turtles. That was meant to be the joke. And then they end up doing the version, which is the, you know, the 90s cartoon.
These kids don't even know about real turtles.
Is the TV series, do they have like, does each part have like an overarching plot, or is it all just sort of case of the week type stuff?
Parts 1 through 3 are all pretty like episodic. Like it doesn't really, there's no plot really. And then part 4 and 5, like yes, there's like an overarching story. Like both of those are like 26 episodes, like typical anime like that.
Oh yeah, I assumed they were going to be the like 50 something, but that's very manageable.
Yeah, no, like parts 1 through 3 are like 100, like 50 to 100 episodes.
Oh, Jesus.
And the later ones are like more manageable anime season, like 2 cores, and you're like, okay.
This I can do.
Yeah, but I did watch part 3 is super like divisive. Like most people hate it because it goes in like a wildly different direction. That's like the Pink Jacket series from the 80s. It's like the first half is done in like this weird, slightly more realistic art style. It's kind of freaked me out at first. It's like, and then the second half is like complete like 180 to like Looney Tunes, like stretchy limbed, really weird looking style that a lot of people hate.
But do you hate it?
Like I feel like I like it sort of, but it's definitely like not my favorite.
Yeah. It almost seems like there's like a 3 and then a 3.5 that are their own things.
It's very bizarre. It's just weird overall.
And then are 4 and 5 kind of similar, or
Yeah. Because 4 and 5 both have Blue Jacket. Like they didn't switch the colors.
I like that that's the main denominator.
I think 2 and 4 are my favorites, because 4 is like a really nice, like updated version of like the goofy antics. It's a little bit more serious because it's got like an overarching plot, but like the first episode I think kind of tells you everything you need to know. It's like a very fun adventure where like Lupin gets married to like a model, but turns out she wants to be a thief too, and then at the end of the episode he's like, sign the divorce papers.
Whoa. Around what time would part 4 have been? Is that like into the 2000s by then, or?
Yeah, it's weird. Like part 3 was like 1980 something, and part 4 is like 2015.
Oh, they're bringing it back.
They took like a super long break I guess, doing all the specials and stuff for the series to come back. And then part 5 was like 2018. It was very recent.
Yeah, and Fujiko, did that happen between the two?
Yeah, I think Fujiko was like 2012.
Oh my god, has it already been that long? No!
So most of the specials are from like the 90s, late 80s, 90s? Okay.
Like 90s to 2000s. So many. A lot of them are really boring and not worth watching.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's so interesting though that they're like, we have to make one every year.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that.
Who made this contract? Yeah, who has to do this?
It does seem like there's long series to go through. They'll just hit a section where they hit life support. Like Doctor Who did that for a while. Where they would just like make like one season or just a special. Like there's that Doctor who was in just like one movie that looks like it was made in like a fucking BBC toilet. Like they had no money.
Don't forget us. Oh, wait, that's right. But I also have to ask you about another very important thing that I'll probably have to watch: the Lupin versus Conan. Because for people that don't know, I love Detective Conan, but I haven't watched past episode like 250 because I hate the modern style, which is what the movie is.
Me too. Oh my god, me too. I hate it.
Fucking rhino noses.
They're so pointy.
They're so pointy.
Like I look at their like profile views and I'm like, that looks like a skate ramp. Like I could just skate off.
It's also like the eyes are all in the wrong spot. It looks so broken. It's so weird.
It's like the ultimate example to me of like artistic drift, where it's like you just kept exaggerating it more and more, and it's like, why did no one tell you to stop? Push that nose back in. But it's still like as I was watching Cagliostro and stuff, I was like, oh man, these guys, it would be really fun to see them interact with Conan. So is the movie good?
There's a TV special that came first, and then there was a movie that came after. I watched both. The special was really like the animation was really bad, which I think did not help.
Ooh, yeah.
The best part of that one though is when Jigen meets Conan, and like their dynamic is so funny. I like it like saved the movie for me.
Yeah, just imagining it at all, I'm already like that Conan's gonna be a little dick and Jigen's gonna be like, I hate this kid.
Yeah, they have to like sneak in somewhere, and someone tells Conan to pretend that he's Jigen's grandson, so he calls him like Papa, and it makes Jigen very mad. And Jigen also found out Conan's secret in like 3 seconds, which is also funny. So
can he just like tell, or
yeah, something like that? He's just like, I know you're not actually a kid, and he's like, okay.
I see the murder in your eyes. But then the movie
was a lot better. I enjoyed the movie like a lot. I think,
oh shit.
Yeah. I think it's the kind of thing where if you like both franchises, then you will enjoy it. I feel like it's one of those movies that's completely worthless if you're not, you know.
If you don't at least like one of them.
Yeah, like
because I forget, how familiar are you with Conan?
I watched the first like, I don't know, like 50
Oh heck yeah.
episodes. I don't know. I watched whatever they had dubbed online because I was younger.
So you know the Jimmy Kudo and
I'm very embarrassed about that, but I still don't know the Japanese names for a lot of the characters, and I was like, oh no. I felt so fucking stupid when they were like, oh, Kogoro. I was like, it's Richard.
I'm sorry, do you mean Richard? You mean Carrie?
I feel so embarrassed at this point. I'm like, God, why would they do that?
Is Harley in the movie? Tori Heiji?
No.
Aw.
He's not, unfortunately. I hate that I knew who you were talking about. I'm so mad.
I never actually saw that much of the dub because it's like, I remember it was on like at 4 a.m. and I would sometimes see it and I'd be like, oh, it's stupid for kids. I shouldn't like it. It's kind of good though. I don't know. It's just kind of good though. Then years later, I finally like watched the sub and I was like, it's good though.
Yeah.
I thought about watching some of Conan because you kept talking about it on Twitter and I was like, oh yeah, that's good, interesting. And then you put out that watch list where you were like, well, I'm 250 episodes in and I know I've got like 350 to go, and I was like, fuck that. I'm out.
You don't have to watch all of them. We were doing watch parties for a while in the Discord, and you know, there's a lot of lists out there of like, here's the actual relevant ones. I'm just the kind of person who I can't just watch the ones people say are important. I gotta watch them all because I have a problem.
Yeah, I just remember sitting through and thinking like, wow, these episodes are all like exactly the same, but like it's fine.
Yeah, all the filler ones are just like, there was a string that went to the place. Haha.
But I ate it up anyway. I was like, I love funny detective man.
Yeah, it's just like Lupin in that, like people know the characters, and so it doesn't matter if you're following years of continuity. You're just like, I want to see those crazy guys.
Yeah. Also, like, both of them are called Lupin the Third versus Detective Conan, so I was like, are they gonna fight? Like,
I assume they have to team up to defeat some other bigger evil or something.
like in the special they don't, but in the movie there's like this weird part towards the end where they're like, I'll bring you into jail or something. I don't know. They don't actually fight.
Oh shit! I hope Conan does his like dick smile where he like does like the evil eyebrows and he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up with the law.
Yeah, there's definitely moments where it's like they're the same but different also.
Oh well, yeah, because that's his relationship with Kaito Kid, who's a Lupin ripoff.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow.
And you said that Lupin shows up in the movie as Kaito Kid, and it's like, got him. Do they use the theme song in everyone the same, like Lupin the Third?
Yes. There's like 100 versions of the same song though. There's like, I've listened to all of them because of course I did.
Nightcore remix.
It's a good song.
It is. It's incredible to me that there are like 50 versions of this one song and all of them are good.
The Cutie Honey was like that too. All the remixes have to use that theme. And then they finally did one that didn't use it and they're like, what the fuck?
You can't just do this. That's the thing. Like the only series that doesn't use it is part 3 again, which is like... Yeah, it uses another song called Sexy Adventure, which is the best song ever, and I think everyone should listen to it.
I am immediately sold on it.
Yeah, there's a part where the guy is just like, Sexy Adventure, like, yes!
That's everything I need to know.
You know the way like modern comedy films are all just called what it is?
Oh, like Superbad or whatever? Oh yeah, Fist Fight.
Bad Neighbors, or all that, that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Sexy Adventure, there you go.
Yeah.
We're going to rename the whole show that.
I kind of want to talk about the 3D movie a bit because
yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
about 3D movies.
Like it's definitely one of those things. I was watching and going, I can definitely see the appeal of these characters, but it doesn't feel like this is actually a story about Lupin.
Yeah, that was my biggest beef. Like it felt like it was more focused on Letitia or whatever and her grandfather and like, I have to get into school, grandpa, and also Nazis. I was like, where is the monkey?
Yeah.
I mean, he's there, but like, it's not about him. Or
that's
it's not
weird.
This one felt like someone like wrote themselves into a Lupin the Third special. And like, they're like, I'm Letitia.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my self-insert. She's gonna get a kiss.
They're like, Lupin gets to save me, and we have to go and fight, and we are friends. And
the girl in Castle of Cagliostro almost had that energy too.
Yeah.
And it turns out that our grandfathers were also buddies, and we got the same key. Friendship.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt that way.
So the basic story is some archaeologist had like a diary that has the location of a weapon that creates black holes, and the Nazis want it. So it's that sort of story. Like it's very Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, that kind of like, don't worry about believability.
Yeah. There's Nazis here, and then he goes to the modern day, and Lupin's gonna steal it, and then but he's this person's granddaughter who doesn't know that she's the archaeologist's granddaughter is trying to get it too. That's Letitia, and I don't know, man. It was just it was a story about Letitia and her Nazi pretend grandfather.
Yeah.
Which was also fucking weird.
This entire franchise is a very strange fascination with Nazis, I've noticed. Just like a lot of the time, they'll be like, this is an ancient artifact so powerful that many world leaders wanted it. And I'm like, they're going to say Hitler, aren't they? And you're like, even Hitler had it. I'm like, okay.
I think part of it's like we kind of had that pop culture relationship with Nazis like in the 80s or whatever, where it's like, haha, they're funny villains. We don't have to think about how there's still a whole lot of people that are super like them.
Yeah.
And I feel like they are kind of like just still in that mindset of like, look at these funny cartoon villain people, ha.
Yeah, it's like a thing. Like it comes up like a lot. Like even the gun that Lupin uses, like the Walther, is the gun Hitler used to kill himself.
Yeah.
It's just like, obviously they're always the villains every time, but it's still like weird that they keep coming up all the time, especially in this one.
Actually, I was going to say the other thing was if you go to the Lupin fandom page and the list of characters, the first listed Lupin character is Adolf Hitler. Just because he's alphabetically.
Yeah, because he's a regular guy.
Yeah, he's
and he does appear at the end as an old man.
Yeah.
turns out it's not him though.
Oh, but there's a fake out with super old, still alive Hitler.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I knew that because, like, in this franchise, it's definitely been like a thing where it's like, oh, you think it's that, but it's Lupin in disguise. But I have a feeling if you did not know and you were watching, you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like,
why is Hitler in a wheelchair?
I had a feeling it was going to be Lupin because he'd done the mask thing in the movie before.
Yeah.
But I was definitely like, this is going for a long time without Lupin saying, hey, it's Lupin. Like
he just really wants to roleplay his fucking...
There's a bit where Letitia almost shoots Lupin in the face. And he doesn't even, like, give her a hint that he's not Hitler.
It's so weird.
That would have been very embarrassing.
It goes on for so long.
It went for ages.
I'm just like, why would you have this in your movie at all?
Jeez. But I guess the visuals, pretty bitchin'.
Yeah, I think that definitely saved it for me. I just kept looking. I was like, animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know this isn't necessarily a fair comparison, but, like, I was watching Ruby at the same time that I was watching this. And it's like, obviously they have different budgets and different, setups, but holy shit, 3D can look really good.
Yeah.
This is going to leave a slightly different flavor in your mouth. Look at how their faces keep moving.
Yeah. Even like just the opener, I was like, oh my god. I think I did like a stream where I was just drawing art and I like forced everyone in the chat to watch the opener for the movie. And I was just like screaming constantly. I'm like, these characters look so good in 3D for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's not easy because they do have a very distinctive like facial style and stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember when they first showed those like the little teasers of it, everybody just kept sharing the gifs like, holy shit, it did it.
Yeah.
It definitely, like, again, it's the only Lupin I've seen, but, like, his monkiness and the way he moves around was real fun.
Yeah. Like, that is a Curious George looking face he's
He
making.
does look like Curious George. I'm looking at pictures of him.
He jumps around, he does funny stuff. Oh, I'm enjoying this.
That was one of the weirder parts of Cagliostro to me, is because like sometimes he looks like what I expect Lupin to look like, and sometimes it's like, this is a very Miyazaki face. That doesn't look like Lupin. His mouth is way too high. It needs to be much slower.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie, so the worst part is like right at the start, Lupin gets arrested, but then he gets saved by Jigen and Ishikawa. And then they just say, hey, we're not going to be here for the majority of this movie.
It made me so sad. I was like, and it was such like such a cool scene too. I was like, oh, I was so excited when they showed up. I'm like, yes, now they're here and they're going to be here for the rest of the movie. But it's like, no. They just disappear.
It's like they're actors who they couldn't afford to have a shoot for more days.
But and then when they eventually do show up, it's in kind of an annoying way. Okay, so there's a big plane. Nazis have a big plane. Okay. Letitia's fake grandfather is this Nazi archaeologist who killed her actual grandfather, but then like just went and took her from the orphanage and raised her because he's trying to unlock this book, and she might know the password or something, even though she was a baby when all of this happened and doesn't remember shit. Not important. Anyway, there's this weird back and forth with her relationship with the grandfather, because sometimes they play it where, like, obviously he was using her, but he actually cares about her, and then they'll switch right back to he hates her and treats her like shit and hits her and chokes her and shit. And it flips back and forth really fast in a kind of annoying way. But anyway,
And also he's a Nazi.
Well, he's a Nazi, yeah, that's it.
It's pretty rude.
Anyway, she gets thrown out of the plane, and Lupin's like, hey, don't do that, and jumps out of the plane after her. And they're just falling, and Lupin's acting like he has a plan, but he didn't. He just gets rescued by Fujiko, who turns up in a plane, and then when their plane's crashing, Jigen and Ishikawa show up in their car in the middle of the desert.
He's meta-aware.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of like Lupin. I would have been nice if Lupin had a plan when he jumped out of the plane. I don't know.
Like, one thing I noticed in this movie is that he's, like, overly cocky. Like, he's usually very cocky, but, like, in this one, it felt like he just knew how everything was gonna happen. Like, it felt like a self-insert fan fiction.
Yeah,
he's like a godlike being.
Yeah, where you ship yourself with, like, this iconic thief who knows everything, and, like, and you're like, also his friends were there, too, but that's not important.
I am looking at this gif of Jigen when he put the hat on and then he do the smile, and I'm like, hey, boy.
Yeah, he's, like, criminally hot in this movie. It makes me upset.
He's fucking adorable.
He's not supposed to look like that, but I love it.
Oh yeah, because Jigen seems to have some very different looks depending on the season. Like there's that one, the weird pointy beard Jigen that I don't like when I see.
He's got like a curly beard, and that's from like the edgy movies. He's got like the curly beard thing going on.
Rejected. I need a tired, greasy boy.
And then in part 3, for the first half with like the realistic style, his eyes are showing like most of the time, and it's weird.
That seems wrong.
I didn't think about that, how crucial it is.
It's weird. I'm like, he can see?
No!
What?
I also liked how... sorry, just to get back to the movie for a second. I also liked how... there's a bit where they have to get through like a temple to get to this super weapon. Yeah. And like the Nazis get there, but they don't have the book. And there's like a tunnel that like squashes you and makes you disappear. And they're like, well, we can't go any further. And then the other guys turn up with the book and they get a clue. And then you realize that you probably didn't need the book to figure out what to do in that room. It was like something from a point-and-click adventure game. Where it was just like, if you all they had to... There's all these balls in the room, and then they look up and there's a statue that's missing an eye. And they're like, oh, obviously one of the balls goes in there. And it's like, you didn't...
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, like if the Nazis had just spent a bit of time looking around, they probably could have figured that out.
Stupid Nazis. Typical.
I did like how there was a thing with Ishikawa had to use his sword to make this magic bridge.
Yeah. And like that felt cool to me because I knew it was gonna happen because I knew that his sword had like meteorite in it, and they were like, "We need meteorite." I was like, "Oh!"
I pick up what you're putting down.
I was like, "Oh shit!" But yeah, it was another thing that like I felt like if you were just watching it, you'd be like, "Okay." Yeah.
Is that the excuse for why his sword can cut cars and everything because it's a special meteorite sword?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. He's very much like there's a special called Tokyo Crisis, and it's pretty good. A lot of people say it's one of the best like one of those like 90s specials, but the whole plot with Goemon is that his sword gets stolen and he's like completely whipped for like most of the movie because he's like depressed, and then he goes like crazy trying to find it, like he refuses to sleep, and it's just like
his love.
Yeah.
Because I was asking you the other day, he seems extremely OP, and I guess the only reason he doesn't just constantly solve everything for them is that he's not always there.
Yeah, he's just off somewhere doing something.
I don't know if this is just the thing that happens in the movie, but there's also a lot of people shooting at people, but no one ever gets shot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a thing?
That's a thing, yeah.
Okay.
It's like sometimes people get shot and you're like, holy shit, like horrible murder, but like they just fall over and it's fine. I think I just watched one today where like Jigen shoots a guy point blank and I was like, holy shit! But like they cut away last second and it's fine. I'm just like,
I guess it has a lot of that like classic adventure movie kind of logic.
Yeah, I'm like, he's fine. I don't know.
How is Fujiko usually played in terms of, like, can she always fight physically, or does she usually just kind of, like, use her sexy wiles?
It's usually the latter, like, because she's usually on the side of the bad guy at the beginning, and she's, like, working the villain. She's, like, sitting on his lap and being like, give me your treasure. And then Lupin's like...
I might betray you eventually.
Yeah, and Lupin's jealous. He's like... And then last second she's like, it's okay, I got you. It really depends. It's like a lot of times there will be a scene where she's in a bathtub or something, or like the villain like assaults her and you're like honestly it gets to the point where I wish that she was just not there at all. Because usually when she is there, it's bad, and it makes me sad.
You do really like her, right?
I do, yeah, I do. Because I feel like when they do it right, like, it's great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I love you, queen.
So I love how she was handled in Cagliostro because like she was just also there and only kind of cared that Lupin was there and was just kind of doing her own thing, and I thought it was really cute.
Yeah, I also appreciate in part 2. I think she's a little bit better in that regard. She's like always. She's usually the one who's after the treasure first, and then Lupin is like, I am here also. And she's like, please go away. This is my job. Leave me alone. It's like that kind of thing, which I like. But yeah, like even in her own series, because I remember it was supposed to air on like Adult Swim when it came out, but they just could not air it because there was so much like gratuitous nudity, so much. Like she is naked at least twice an episode. Like
oh jeez.
And is she in like sexual danger sometimes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like really bizarre, and a lot of people say that it's like very feminist. And I honestly, I can't. I feel like I don't know enough to say.
Seems like a mixed bag.
Yeah, it was directed by a woman, and that's what a lot of people point to, and they're like, yes, it is feminist and good. But I'm like, I don't know, some of these things I can't help but watch and feel like, why is it like this?
Not everything directed by a woman is going to be the perfect feminist.
Yeah. It still is cool, though. Like, it still has good moments for Fujiko, so I guess that's good. But
you're just not quite as bullish on it as a lot of people seem to be.
Yeah.
I like at the end of the movie when she's leaving with a bunch of stolen Nazi treasure.
Yeah, that happens a lot. So like last minute, there was like one I was watching where like they work so hard to get this treasure, and then last minute Fujiko like snatches it and gets in her car and drives off.
See ya.
Yeah, she comes back though because she realizes that it's a fake, but it was still very funny.
Yeah, that seems like a fun kind of like. There's obviously places there where you could play the relationship. That sounds really fun to me.
Yeah. I believe that, like, in part 5, they were married for a short while.
Her and Lupin?
Yeah, off screen, I guess. Like, at the end of the series, she's talking to another character, and she's like, we were married for a little while. I was like, what?
Was this part of a con?
What? She's like, it didn't work out because married life wasn't for us. I'm like, no shit, it wasn't.
Told ya. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see you actually trying to make that work.
I could not imagine, like, domesticated, like...
Lupin, you left your socks on the floor.
You do, you do the sort of today's menu fate style thing where it's just a slice of life Lupin. Like, what the fuck is that?
Just domestic Lupin.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of like my favorite episodes of any of the series is in part 5, and it's literally that. It's like the conflict is that Jigen's toilet is broken, and the whole episode is just them like fighting over who gets to use the toilet first.
That's amazing.
They like do rock, paper, scissors, and then Fujiko shows up and hogs the toilet, and they're like, it's broken.
That's the kind of thing, it's like, it's funnier because that's not the normal, kind of thing that they get up to.
Yeah, it had me like crying at one point. Like they're hungry, and like this all takes place in France, by the way. And like Goemon wants to make noodles because he's hungry, but they don't have flour. And then like he goes to a French restaurant and asks for it, but they don't have the kind that he wants. And he eats a pizza, and he gets really mad because it's not Japanese food. It's just like. I think like Lupin throws away his chopsticks at one point and he gets really grumpy and he's just mad for the rest of the episode, and I'm just like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that sounds fucking adorable.
I feel like if on K-On! They did a heist, just flip it around.
Yeah, just like completely flip it.
Just flip it.
I mean, I would definitely also want to see that.
Yeah, I would very much enjoy. Slice of life, except it's a heist now.
Cool.
Do you have any closing statements about Lupin the Third?
I think everyone deserves to try it at least. Watch Castle of Cagliostro or Fuma Conspiracy, and you will have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like Castle Cagliostro. I will say, the way that the villain dies, I was like, I can't believe they fucking did that. It was such a like cute movie, and then I was like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if holy fucking he's dead?
It's weird. Everyone says it's like a kid-friendly one. I'm like, well.
There's a lot of people that it does seem like they killed. Like he like takes that guy's scuba gear, and then like he's underwater, and I'm like, that guy just fucking drowned to death in this.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, Cor, for explaining lupus to us.
Yeah, no problem. It was really fun. I was nervous, but it turned out okay. I had fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I was excited to hear about it, and I want to watch some more Lupins now, I think.
Yay! At least watch the Conan thing.
Yes!
We need to get you back on again to talk about One Piece at some point.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do my best.
I'm always hearing things and I'm like, what? His fucking brother is a character? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I only read the first, like, few volumes and everything's different and I don't understand. Nami, what happened?
Honestly, I wish I knew what was happening too, but...
Wait, isn't it, like, supposed to end soon or something?
It's kind of like Miyazaki where he's like, guys, I'm quitting, and then he makes another one. It's like that.
I see, yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for Conan. Plug your stuff again. Tell people where they can find you.
My Twitter is @HeyIt'sCorinth, and I have a webcomic called Crisis 02. The link to it is on my Twitter bio, I think. If it's not, I'll put it there. But
Heck yeah.
yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes too.
Cool. Thank you.
Have a nice anime, everybody. That's my thing I say to say goodbye. I refuse to stop saying it.